makes it easier. Just pre-planning. All right, we're live.
Hi there. So, wow, today we're going to talk about the difference between privacy and secrecy. Because it can make or break a relationship. I think a friendship, a romantic relationship, a marriage. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'll wait till we get started to say things.
Barry and I would like to welcome you to the new streaming, it's easy, put it back, the new streamingnetwork.com, WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network, radio, TV, and podcast, #1 internet singles talk network. And this is Let's Talk Dating with Christine and Barry. Hi, Barry.
Hi, Christine.
So you had something to say about that.
Well, the thing is, how do I say this tonight? How do I say this? let's just say that over the years I've definitely accumulated my own treasure chest of secrets. I'll put it that way. But also, I mean, this conversation is going to be fun because there's levels and blends between the two topics, and there's good things and bad things on both sides. So this is going to be an interesting conversation. I'll tease it that way.
I love that, because really, I so believe that there are lots of levels of privacy and lots of levels of secrecy. And I'm going to say, as Barry and I say so often in the beginning, figure out what your personal definitions are for your boundaries, your life. What kinds of things do you want to keep private for you? And what kind of things do you need other people to keep private? And what kind of secrets are you willing to keep for somebody else? And what kind of secrets are you needing other people to keep for you? My mother told me when I was young, and I have remembered it forever, that if you want to know everybody that knows a secret about you, don't tell anybody. Then it's only you.
It is funny because I've had, how to say this, a bad habit of not keeping secrets very well. So when somebody trusts me with information, I've got a bad habit of saying something, and it's almost like, the old adage, especially after they had all the bomb scare stuff, about, say if you see something, say something. I oftentimes see things and I mention them, and I realize that maybe I should have held that in, not said anything. So I definitely have had to clean up some communication messes with friends when I blurted something out. I'll say it that way. I was going to say something politer, where I basically put my foot in my mouth by saying things I shouldn't have said because I noticed something, because I have a very astute sense of awareness. I notice things very well. Sometimes I notice something that I basically keep to myself, so to speak. So it can be a self-inflicted wound when you start talking about things you shouldn't necessarily do. So secrets have their place, and so does privacy.
Oh my goodness, all of that is so important that you said, Barry, because both of us, we've talked about, we're both very observant. It makes us really good at our coaching job. We're astute at people, what's going on with people. We notice their emotions. We notice their actions. We are noticing people in the world. We're always noticing people, things that are happening in the world. And the word that I would put between all of this is discretion, thinking about having some discretion about what we say. Because boy, as coaches, people often, I remember to say it in the beginning that, whatever we talk about is private. In my will, the person that's in charge of that knows to shred. They have all the things that I have that are client oriented, everything, don't look at anything at all. They have an agreement. They're going to just shred everything because I have, personal information, their credit card information. And so I tell them I'm a vault. I'm a vault, and I will never reveal anything that you say.
Yeah.
And I've had people tell so many things about me personally before I learned who was trustworthy and who wasn't, that I think it's one of the reasons that I have generally been kind of a closed mouth person, because it happened to me so often. I think if it doesn't happen to you, you don't know what it feels like. So learning what to say and what not. And one of the things that I've asked, and I've asked people to ask me, is this something that you're willing? I'm going to tell you something. Is it something you're willing to tell nobody?
Right. Yeah.
Because the problem is, especially for girls. I think you're saying something that you just observed, but for girls, us 2X people, we like telling somebody something that we know because look at what a trusted source I was. Look at, they told me this really important thing. And I want you to see how important I am and how trusted I am because I'm going to tell you this thing, which so backfires. But I
Oh
see
yeah.
why we do this because it looks like we're so important. It's really a problem.
Oh God, yeah. No, I definitely appreciate that. I need to go back and clean up something because you said something that made me realize I better say this too. Is that when it comes to client confidentiality, I'm absolutely, definitely keep things in discretion and don't say anything to anybody. So that's just so anybody's looking to work with me knows that's true.
Yeah.
The other part of that as well is that, and this is actually something I've learned over the years too, and this is maybe a bigger teaching, is I've learned to be transparent, meaning that about myself, I don't keep secrets about who I am. Because I realize also, much one of the things to be aware of, and you've seen it in the news over the last few months as well, is that I don't keep things secret, so there's nothing for me to be found out about me that might expose something dark and dangerous about me that would be seen. So people know I'm pretty much like an open book, so as the saying goes. And it's interesting. I was at every Wednesday, I almost every Wednesday, I have a game night I go to, which is basically like board games and other things. It's like getting up digital media, and it's a mostly mature crowd, like 40 and up. And it fluctuates between like 5 to 20 people, depending who's showing up there. And one of the games we did last night, I forgot the name of the card game, but basically each of the cards has a declaration and a question. And it's basically about, talk about a time in your life when so-and-so happened or when you did this. And one of the ones was, the cards I got was, describe a time in your life where you knew you couldn't fail. And so it became a question. So in that sort of conversation, I'll talk about, and one of the guys shared something that happened like when he was a teenager and he was in his 60s. So that was in quotes, a secret he had for 50 years, but it's really freeing to release it and talk about it and get it out. So sometimes those secrets we keep to ourselves, maybe we're ashamed, maybe we'd made a mistake, maybe we judged ourselves, or other people judged us. When we reveal them, when we speak them, when we say them out loud, it takes all the pressure off and all the onus off, and we become freer. So sometimes to let go of those secrets is actually a gift to ourselves to be free. So, and we talk about more later on the show how we can do that. But the thing is that sometimes secrecy isn't necessarily sacred. It can actually be a withhold that can make it feel more uncomfortable. So you're going to choose sort of, as you said as well, who do you choose to confide in, but also, do you feel safe enough to talk about it to anybody so you're not concerned about any what's the word we're looking for? Any blowback? Yeah, or repercussions, right?
Oh my goodness, yes. So that's a personal secret. What are you keeping the secret for? Is it for your safety, somebody else's safety? To think about, is there harm keeping that secret to you or to somebody else? So as this gentleman found 50 years later or 50-ish later, holding that secret inside of himself, he'd finally decided that the benefit of sharing it in this group was better than holding it back anymore. But certainly there'd been a benefit to holding it back up until then. So now he gets to personally share his secret and have it received and be out in the open. And it can be so freeing, as you said. I'm so glad that he did that. And you and I hear lots of things from our clients.
Oh, yeah.
So relieved to finally share with one person. So that kind of secrecy is a very different kind. So you're making a personal choice about something about you personally, or something that that somebody has trusted about themselves to you, or that is happening to somebody. And my judgment and my concern, my consideration is always, is there more harm or is there more good to say something? Mm-hmm. Will it harm the other person more? Is it their secret to tell? My niece's husband had something happen to him when he was in the service, and he had shared something, and his upper officer said, that was not your card to play. You were not holding that card in your hand. It was somebody else's card. I love that term. I have now been using it since I heard it last year. And I do think, is this card in my hand? Is it my card to play or not? You can encourage somebody to say something if you think it would help free them, but it's still not your secret to tell. It's always up to them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know myself. That's one of the, I love that term because it really is. It's sort of, it's not my turn to speak about it, sort of thing. Same idea, and I really think it's a great thing to recognize because yes, it's nice not have any secrets, especially if you're in an intimate couple. You want to be able to tell each other anything. At the same time, there are certain I'm going to say like precipices. Like there's certain points you don't want to jump over yet. So it becomes a period of time where the walls come down in progression. So basically, if you get into a new relationship, you might not want to bring out all the secrets on the first date. It may be a journey of progression into more and more intimacy as time goes by, because for one thing, it's always good to get to know somebody over time because you'll enjoy the journey, experiencing and learning more about each other as time goes by. But also, and this is the challenging point, some things don't need to be aired, but some things maybe you want to speak more sooner than others because you may need to, like, I want to say warning, but advise the other person ahead of time that there's certain things, maybe you've got certain things in your history that make love making more challenging, for example. You might want to think about that before you get to that point, so it's not something you spring on them at that moment. So some secrets or privacy you have for yourself or things that you haven't talked about, once you have that safety, keyword, with that person, is you can share about those things before you cross the line where you realize that would make an impact on the relationship.
Yes.
So it's important to navigate for yourself and be honest with yourself. What really do I want to hold back and what really do I want to share and when do I want to share it?
Now, mine is always, what can I trust them with? Are they trustworthy? I learned to share little bits with people and then see what happens, to see if I can share something that's bigger with them, what they do with something that's little. I was working in a company, there were like 350 people, and I was a very private person. I was having some challenges in my marriage. I was really young to be in this high executive position. So I thought the way to look really professional was to not talk about my personal life at all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I learned that people were making stuff up about me, that I could not have even had any time to eat or sleep. There was so many things that I kept hearing that I was doing and that I was like, not at all. So then I learned to share little bits of real things, and then they felt like they knew a lot. So that was my very first experience with that. So then I learned the people that if I wanted something to be shared throughout the company, like about my department, I knew who to tell because it would all happen in about 24 hours. There could be 100 people that would now know, and I wouldn't have to do anything other than tell one person. It was very educational for somebody in their 20s. I got to tell you, I learned a lot.
Oh yeah, and I can relate to that. I as I shared before, I got bullied in high school because people found out certain things about me and they used that against me. And so I did learn that certain things I would keep to myself just for self-preservation in my early 20s. And the thing is, it's interesting to now look back at from this point of view, viewpoint. And it's interesting because people I hang out with so understand and relate to what I went through much younger. It's almost a bonding experience to share about it now, whereas back then it wasn't. So there's also contextually a place to where you share and where you don't as well. And yes, people you can trust is vital. But also it's environments that I'm in as well. I'm now choosing environments where being not necessarily vulnerable, but being transparent is valued and respected, which is a cool thing to have. So get yourself one of those, people.
We all would like more than one of those. That would be really important to have. And the other thing I've learned when I go back to where us women get so excited to share information that we've received, that I've learned, especially with the men that I've become very close with, that they do share, not clients, personal people, they have shared things with me. And I have now learned to ask out loud, is this something that's private? And most of the time the answer is yes. So then I won't tell anybody. And then sometimes, like, the story that my husband and I have in a book about how we met, it's called how 50 couples found love after 50. He talked about the things that had happened to him before he met me in this book. So it all didn't become private or secret anymore at all. So, but the other things that he had told me that he hadn't told his two ex-wives, I asked, and they were absolutely private. So I haven't ever shared them with anybody else. And so it wasn't a secret, but it was because he told me about it, right. But it was something very private that had happened to him that was very hard for him when he was growing up. And I was honored that he felt comfortable telling me, and knew that when he said it was private, that he knew I would never tell anybody else, no matter what, no matter how much I wanted to share it with anybody or how close I am with anybody. It was something that he said was private. So what I felt like private meant is that it's completely just between us, whereas secret feels like it's a little more personal, that you're sharing to somebody, that it's not staying in a container of more than one person, that it's now being shared with from one person's secret to another. And now it's not a secret anymore, as my mother said.
That's the thing I want to cover also, and it's true, because there is a difference between privacy and secrecy, but not quite as much as people think.
No.
And from a lot of ways, secrets are sort of things that people kept locked away. It's almost like treasure; you keep them hidden away in a secret place. Whereas privacy is just saying that's not something that's available to everybody, and so it's almost like a different qualification. So, I would strongly suggest for romantic couples to definitely have privacy away from the prying eyes of the world, so they can have their own sacred space, their own safety, sanctity, and sanctuary as well. But there may be secrets they have within the relationship that are simply not even available for go beyond privacy, and also secrets from each other as well, because that's part of the joy of learning about each other, as you discover things you didn't know about them. So that's the secrets that get revealed, and that's the dance between the privacy and secrecy that can make for interesting conversations for sure, but also it's like, where do you play those out? Where do you have privacy and where do you have secrecy in your life? It's a discussion.
Yes. And one of the things that I talk about with couples is that you never say something negative about your partner when you're out with people, ever. Just never, ever say anything negative about them, to them, at all. That is something you do in the privacy of the two of you together, wherever you're just the two of you together. If you have something that you're upset about and you need to have a conversation about, you do it in privacy. You do it with nobody else around, because it is so demeaning, demoralizing, and disrespectful to speak disrespectful, negatively to your partner, about your partner, in front of other people. I just think it should be outlawed in every relationship. So that's one of the things that I use privacy for, that you do this in private.
Yeah. And it is one of those things that, unfortunately, again, referring to the media, we've seen many people either ignore those boundaries or keeping so secret and private that then when you get found out, it's such a tragic thing to discover about somebody. So it requires a level of awareness, frankly, just to be able to see where you can share and where you shouldn't share. So, yeah. I know we're coming up the break in a moment, so we're going to save some of this for after the break, because we can get into much more detail when we come back.
Because, oh my gosh, social media is anything private or secret anymore. People having cameras in houses, I just roll my eyes. I would never, ever in a million years want to do that for any reason ever.
Yeah.
So if this is piquing your interest about, wow, how would I share something intimate, secret about me if I was in a relationship? Or what kinds of things should I share? And what kinds of things do I talk about to people that they're private for me or private for them? I'd be happy to talk to you about that, because you heard I've been on that journey for a really long time. So the way to get a hold of me is to go to my website, which is www.theperfectcatch.com. Scroll to the middle of the screen. You'll see a What's Holding You Back from Love questionnaire. It handles this as well. Click on that questionnaire. There's 10 brief questions about what's happening right now and what would you like to be different? Where are you in this journey? And then it'll give you access to my online calendar, and you can schedule a complimentary conversation with me. You can also send me an email at Christine@theperfectcatch.com. And how would people reach you, Barry?
Similar to Christine, I have a site where you can go and get scheduled with the chat with me, very private, very confidential as well. So on my website, which is barryselby.com, at the top of the screen is a button that says Let's Chat. Click on that button. It takes you to my calendar, where you get scheduled for a Zoom conversation with me. It's a 20-minute conversation over Zoom. But you fill out a questionnaire. There's, I think, 12, 13 questions, similar to Christine, different but similar, which you fill out first, so I get an idea of where you are and what you're looking for and how I can help you. If you want to send me an email, you can send me one directly at barry@barryselby.com, and we'll tell you about the rest of which you can find us at the end of the show.
And now we're going to take a commercial break for our wonderful newsstreamingnetwork.com that distributes our shows and our podcasts. And we'll be right back to talk more about the difference between privacy and secrecy.
See you in a moment.
Hi, and welcome back to Let's Talk Dating with Christine and Barry. And today we're talking about the differences between privacy and secrecy in your life in general, with just you and your friends and your family, and certainly, as we always talk about, your romantic relationships.
Absolutely.
Because it can just cause so much trust and a great foundation, or it can blow everything up if you don't honor people's requests for privacy and or secrecy.
Yeah, I was mentioning before the break about all the different news articles and pieces about people who have had their secrets exposed to the world. And one of the challenges is when people get into more of a position of visibility, whether it's celebrity or politician or some other leadership person in the world, when people's secrets, in quotes, get revealed, things they maybe didn't want to let the world know about, they end up becoming painted with a certain color brush, shall we say. Whereas if they had basically, and I've seen people do this, who voiced their mistakes, secrets, things they wish they'd admitted when they were younger, before they became big and famous, or even on the journey to it, it became part of their accessibility and it became something more respected about them. So they went beyond that and became very well done. So the moral or the story for this really for me is that when you have things that are secret that you use, that you feel ashamed of, that you're hidden from, if you carry those around and then you become more visible in relationship, for example, in intimate relationship, when they get revealed, it can be very detrimental to your connection and your intimacy and your safety with that person. Mm-hmm. So that's why I mentioned before the break about it's important to share what you're holding back as a secret earlier on, especially before that secret might impact a certain part of the relationship journey, whether it's, sexual one or intimacy or trustworthiness or any of those sort of things. So there's a willingness to be vulnerable, to share with somebody you're getting to know. Once you trust them, as we mentioned, where it's a good place to share those secrets, you don't hold back from them. You don't feel any sense of distance from them.
Oh boy, that is an interesting internal and external dance for everybody. Figuring out what to share, when to share, how to share. Oh my gosh. It's a conversation that I have with clients almost daily, as they're getting to know somebody and what to tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, part of when you talked about sexually, if you have an STD, herpes,
mm-hmm.
and is really a big thing. I've coached a lot of people that have herpes, even if it's not active, they know how to take medicine. You have to tell somebody. You do have to tell them it's because most of them contracted it from somebody who didn't tell them, which is really sad.
Yeah.
And I know lots of couples. I've coached lots of couples that are in couples where one of them has herpes and the other one doesn't, and they still don't because they know when they're going to have a breakout, they know the medicine to take, and they were very upfront about it in the beginning. Also, if you have a disability, to talk about it, or if you have another kind of illness, besides an STD, it's really important to learn, is this person going to be safe? Is this somebody you would really like to continue seeing? You need to reveal it. And then it's really important to see, how does the other person respond? If it's not their thing, then you're not their person, and really good to know, because there's no benefit to hiding. There's never going to be anything good if you don't talk about something that could impact the other person's life or make you never feel as close to them because you couldn't talk about something that's happened to you previously in your life. It would just be tragic.
Yeah, it's frustrating. No, that's the word I'm going to use. It's distressing as somebody who is committed to supporting my clients and having what they want in a relationship and love and everything else, to see people shoot themselves in the foot with this area, where they're so afraid to be seen and to be vulnerable, to be noticed, they won't even chance being with a relationship with somebody. And as I've been focusing more and more with working with people who've been single for a long time, their walls have got so much stuff buried with, like the water in the walls is all these secrets and things that are hidden, but in the way they're becoming vulnerable and intimate again. And it's distressing for me to witness that. But the good news is when they work with me, I help them take down that wall so they can be more open to meet what they want. But it also makes them much more happy and free, because the other part as well, when you have secrets, is like carrying around extra weight on your shoulders. So it's a burden that slows you down and makes you less mobile, less interactive, less nimble in relationships. So one of the challenges that people face, especially as they go through the years, they become more mature, is they tend to accumulate these pockets of secrecy and of things they don't want to share that become this weighted down like burden they carry that's getting in the way of having what they want. And so this process of revealing and letting go and opening up and letting the secrets go is like you just shed the weight. I mean, people talk about weight loss physically. Well, this is weight loss emotionally, you know?
Such a good point. And when you talk about the walls, then you can't feel somebody in an intimate way, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and they can't feel you because
Right.
there is going to be this wall in between you. So
Yeah.
learning how to first get okay with whatever this is, this secret that you have with you. Barry and I help you process that. And then how can you learn if the other person's a safe person to share that with? And then see what happens when you share it with them. Because it's certainly interesting how many people in the last couple of years have had the political differences. It's overtaken even religious. It's just gone kind of crazy. But I've certainly know a couple of couples very successfully who are on different political places. They have enough of, they can reason it out together. They really can. They're not rabid about it.
Mm-hmm.
Where the people that are pretty rabid for one side or the other usually can't have a conversation with the other side.
Right.
No matter which side you're on, the other side's wrong. So that's a thing to find out from the beginning. Where are your leanings politically? If it's a big thing to you or not a big thing, is it a big thing to me or not? Because that can become an impediment. And I think a lot of people are feeling kind of secretive on both sides about saying who they believe.
Well, that's the thing.
Or not.
That's also because they're carrying the weight of feeling ashamed about it, which is another clue, by the way, where you've got secrets you're not revealing, you're feeling ashamed. And I was thinking just slightly different angle on that, but also that sometimes I see people, I've certainly experienced it myself being in the dating game myself, and I was on a date recently with somebody that one of my matchmaker friends booked me on a date with one of their clients. And I sometimes scare people with my transparency because I have no fear of telling people what's going on, where I am, what I've been through. And so it can basically rub people the wrong way, which is another thing that we've noticed is an interesting thing, because some people aren't used to having that level of availability and honesty with somebody else. And yes, with the political stuff, because I deal more on the religious side of things. That's where I tend to play more, because I don't focus much in terms of the area of religion, because it's just, anyway, no, I'm not going to go there. but I do have fun playing in the conversation about religion and spirituality, because I've been on a spiritual path for many decades. And coming from a Jewish background, I don't have the Christian values that many Christians have. It's not against them, not different, just that's the way I was raised. So I wasn't raised with Jesus being a savior or hell and those sort of things, because they weren't in my upbringing, which is a gift or a curse, depending how you look at it. But what I noticed, though, is when I meet people and have conversations, I watch the lens they look through, and I just notice how they see the world through what perspective it is. And I notice very quickly, because of where I come from, and I can sense about them, where I go, this isn't going to lighten up. And that's just the thing. And it's like, I notice some people also don't want to talk about it. They want to keep their true experience private and secret. They don't want to talk about it. And so sometimes it's a little bit of encouragement for me to sort of tease it out of them, to have them come up and to be honest. So that's why I speak myself from where I stand, because I want to say, look, this is where I'm coming from. How about you? And it becomes an invitation that makes it more of an open conversation, because most people, politically or in religious terms, carry these taboos about what they can talk about. And so that becomes a secrecy issue. So I don't want to talk about that because I might cause affront or upset you or not find connection, or all these things we think would happen if we don't speak the truth. And frankly, when you reveal your secrets, you tend to make more connection and have more intimacy.
It's so freeing for both sides, because the shame is that we feel shame.
Yeah.
That is such a sad state when we feel such shame about who we are and what happened to us, because often the things that happened to us was when we were too young to make a decision. It wasn't anything that we did or didn't do. And to find a way to get through it, therapy, coaching, certainly my suggestion to everybody, that then when you could now say just an overview of this is what happened and this is what I've done to get over it and this is who I am now, takes all your shame away. And then you just watch and see, how does the other person handle it? Does it bring up shame for them? Are they intrigued? Are they interested? Are they put off? It's one of the ways to vet somebody that you're moved forward enough that now you're considering, gosh, I'd really like to spend more time with them and get to know them better. It's generally isn't the first thing that you say, but to get to a place where you can talk about these are the things that I'm happy to share, that I need to take out of the closet, as they say.
Right.
But then know that they're trustworthy of it, that they're not going to go blab it to the next 3 people that they talk to. That's the other thing that's really important.
Well, that is the thing, is that this is obviously not a black and white conversation. This whole conversation is really about nuance and about trusting. And one of the joys of the work we do with our clients is really oftentimes change their paradigm so they can see through a different lens and understand that what they're going through isn't unique. It isn't tragic, because that's come up a couple of times with clients about their feeling so tragic. It's like, no, this is just your own, and not recognizing your own gifts, your own talents. And sometimes, spinning to the secret side for a moment, some people's secrets actually their superpowers. I've seen people share with clients, and I've had experience myself, where something I thought was so, in quotes, wrong or bad or perverse or not right was actually a power and a gift that could be brought into the world that can change not only their life, but the life of those around them. And so there's such a gift that we can bring when we stop looking at what we've done as such a bad thing. Therefore, we've got to keep it secret. You know, we lock away our secrets because we did something wrong, according to what somebody else said, not what we actually know is truth. So when we reveal those things and speak the truth, as I said earlier, you know, you free up the energy for one thing, but secondly, you might discover there's actually a gift in that could become a superpower.
And I think it's, you know, you and I've talked about some things that have happened to us in our lives. And I think we were born kind of sensitive people, but it's made us even more sensitive, you know, to paying attention to what's in the world. And so the more that we honor it and free it inside of ourselves and then share with other people, the more we're able to give our gifts to the world as people in general, not just the two of us, but everybody has a better chance of being more of their whole self. So deciding what things need to stay private just between you and one person or 2 people. And then the secrets that often are, I need you to keep this secret for me, but I'm telling you this because it's making me feel really freeing. Or now it doesn't have to be a secret anymore. That's one of the other benefits too, that now I'm fine with everybody knowing it.
Yep. And
such a journey.
It is, and it does require a level of self-awareness. It's probably the biggest piece of this too, is being aware of your own position in life, your connections, who you can trust, who you know you can and you won't trust, those things too. It isn't a blind, like, okay, automatically I'm going to do this, and this is the way I'm going to do it. It's like, no, you need to have, you're advised to have deference and awareness and choice points so you decide what works, what doesn't work. Because we're not saying have no secrets or don't worry about privacy. No, we're just talking about be selective and choosing it, because some secrets may not be shared as easily, so you can walk around free. It's like, yes, the more you shed, the freer you become. Doesn't mean that everything you've ever happened to you or things you've experienced should be broadcast to the world. Like you were saying, it's like, yeah, if there's one person, 2 people you can trust to talk about these things with, it can be great to have that space because it frees you up yourself, so you're not carrying around the burden of that on your own. So these gifts that we have, again, to play with that way, can be things that you want to share tenderly with somebody else, or you don't want to share with anybody. But the more you're carrying, the more it's in the way of you having what you want, because they become the wall, as I mentioned earlier, of that to avoid having intimacy. So some secrets, wonderful. Too many secrets, maybe too much. You know.
And I think the overall is that when you want to have a really intimate kind of relationship with somebody, learning how to balance this out, learning which things you need to process, which things you could share with somebody, which things you could process and you don't have to ever share with them, or just say, this is, you know, where I am today, and don't have to say where you were before, and what things that maybe you've been betrayed and how to have that not happen again. Because that's one of my big lessons, was how to have that not happen again. So It's certainly what Barry and I are good at. And we'd be so happy to help you through this journey, because it's a very important thing in our adulthood to figure out how to handle this kind of situation even better. I think that's one of the biggest gifts that we give people. So in order to do that, I'm going to send you back to my website, which is www.theperfectcatch.com. And you can schedule a complimentary, private, confidential conversation with me by going and clicking on the What's Holding You Back questionnaire. Answer those 8 brief questions, and then it'll give you access to my calendar, and you can schedule a complimentary conversation with me at your convenience. If you go to the top of my website, you can click on my ebook. It's free. It's 10 years of my advice column and my newsletter, full of lots of wonderful dating tips, and I'm happy to give them to you as a gift. You can join my mailing list, and each week you'll get in your mailbox our wonderful faces and our podcast from that week, as well as what's going on in my other parts of my business life. Also, I'd send you to the bottom, which is where all my social media icons are of Facebook and LinkedIn and Pinterest and YouTube and Instagram and Twitter. And if you go to the YouTube, you'll click on that. You'll see over 270 podcasts that Barry and I've done together, some ones that I did with another guy, and then some that I did on my own. So I don't have quite as many as Barry, but I have quite a few. He's got me beat.
It's no competition.
No. You were so much more comfortable than me doing them. And then you can also send me an email at Christine@theperfectcatch.com. And Barry, tell people how to see all of your things.
So, Christine, I have a website and all the other things too. So my site is my name, much easier to find me. It's at barryselby.com. As I mentioned earlier, you can get on my calendar by going to the button at the top. Click the button at the top of the homepage, which is Let's Chat, which basically gives me a chance to get on my calendar. And if you feel like a question, I'm get scheduled for a 20-minute Zoom call discussing where you are and what you're looking for and if I can help you. At the bottom of the screen, you can just jump into my email instead. Just put your name and email at the bottom, and you're automatically added to my email list, because I send out a weekly newsletter, which includes this show every week, plus other things I'm working on, inspiration, invitations, and other things I'm working on. I've got a lot brewing right now, so good time to get on my email list. At the middle of the screen is a button which takes you to the first of my 2 quizzes, my 2 assessments. This one is called the Relationship Readiness Assessment. And if you go to barryselby.com/quiz, you can get to it that way as well. But if you click on the button, it'll take you straight there. And basically, it gives you a reference point of where you are on your journey towards a relationship. And you'll get an email from me explaining where you are on that rating scale, so to speak. And then you decide if you want to work with me from there or not. Secondly, is another quiz which I created, which is not on the homepage of my site, but you can just type in barryselby.com/self-quiz, which is a little different. Instead of being a quiz about, are you ready for a relationship? It's actually a quiz about what's your relationship like with yourself. And this is a much deeper process. It's 7 different sections, lots of questions and evaluation that you then get a PDF document sent to you, or should say a downloadable link sent to you so you can download the PDF, which gives you a whole bunch of information and guidance, tips, and things you can take to heart and use yourself. If you want to use those, great, go ahead. If you want to reach out for more support, you can do that as well. Additionally, my book is on my website, because I have a book that's been out for 13 years now, called 50 Ways to Love Your Lover. If you go to that link on my site, or you go to barryselby.com/book, if you're not sure if you want to buy the book, you can listen to the audio replay. There's a AI-generated discussion of my book with 2 very intelligent voices that sound very NPR-type voices, but they have a conversation about my book that explains it pretty detailed, so you'll get a sense if they're books for you or not, and then you can go order it from the bottom of the page. On social media, you can find me under my name, Barry Selby, on YouTube, first of all, because that's where all of these shows get recorded as well, plus over 1,000 other videos. So I've done a lot of YouTube videos over the years. Some of them have been through other platforms, but definitely have done a lot of talks that are passionate, sometimes influential, sometimes just rants about things I've been through, but also about love and relationships a lot. I did about 1,000 videos about self-relationships, so that's out there as well. So you can keep entertaining my voice. So definitely find me on Barry Selby on YouTube, but also find me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Pinterest, Blue Sky, and under Threads and Instagram, it's The Real Barry Selby. And if you want to send me an email directly, you can send me one at barry@barryselby.com.
And we are here live every Thursday at 1 o'clock Pacific and 4 o'clock Eastern, and all the times in between. And if you want to go watch us in replay, you can watch us on YouTube and on Roku. But you can take us with you too, Barry, right?
Yep. Yes, we have this show as Christine mentioned earlier. We do actually have it as a podcast. So there is actually an audio version of this show available on all your podcast platforms, whether you listen on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you listen to podcasts. Look for Let's Talk Dating with Christine and Barry, and you can listen to our podcast, all 270 plus episodes, at your leisure, wherever you're going. If you're out in the world, driving, riding, places where you can't basically sit and watch your screen, because frankly, you need to look where you're going. Listen to us in your ear. So our podcast is out there. You can listen to us each time. And you can scan through all the titles. I mean, 270 topics. There's something for everybody there. So find them, speak to you, listen to them, and be empowered. We'd love to support you.
And whether you're watching or listening, we'd love for you to review us, like us, and share us with anybody in your family, friends that are having some conversations and challenges about their dating and relationship life.
Yep.
And we'll be back next week with another interesting topic.
We'll see you then. You take care.
Bye for now.